If you like what you hear in this podcast and want to help us keep the lights on, then you could support us on Ko-fi for as little as a £1 one-off donation. The links are in the episode description. Thanks for your support. This is Skipped, the podcast where we tell you, in our opinion, which albums are truly unskippable and which ones belong in the skip. I'm Mike.
I'm Rob.
And this week we are taking a look at Fear of a Blank Planet by Porcupine Tree, as suggested by Sam Gibbs, which is a name you might recognise if you are a fan of the Yogscast, and also a fan of fantastic intro music, because Sam is actually the composer and musician and all the talent behind the intro music and outro music and all music associated with Skipped, which we thank him greatly for. If you do want to go and get yourself some good music, I can recommend Sam very highly. But he actually sent us 2 suggestions, and this one came up on our randomizer wheel, which we've now started using to pick these albums, because otherwise we might favour one thing or the other.
There's so many albums, Mike.
There's too many now.
There's so many.
Over a year's worth of suggestions.
However, if you do want to get your suggestions in to make an episode,
you know what to do.
You know what to do. Send an email to skippedpod, so that's SKIPDPOD, drop the E, at gmail.com, or click on our link tree below where you'll find all of the links to get in contact.
Yes, it's all there. You too could join the ranks of Sam's pick today, which is, of course, Porcupine Tree's Fear of a Blank Planet. I have to enunciate the blank, because otherwise I say Fear of a Black Planet, which is not their album.
That's a very different album name.
And it's also just a very different album. It is actually, I think it's an NWA album.
Oh, wow.
It's something like that. This
is very much not NWA.
No. It's interesting that the kind of the albums that it's drawing that name from kind of feeds off a fear and anxiety, and this album is also about fear and anxiety, which we'll get to in a minute. But as is tradition, we're going to hear some facts, figures, and historical data about Fear of a Blank Planet.
So this is actually the 9th studio album by the British progressive rock band Porcupine Tree. It was actually their best-selling before 2009's album. So this one came out in 2007 and was actually released in Europe by Roadrunner Records,
Europe.
In the rest of Europe, I should say.
Yes.
Did I say the Europe?
You said the Europe.
Yes.
Good over there in the Europe.
Not the Europe. It was released by Roadrunner Records, which is quite a big deal in the rock and metal world.
I mean, these guys have been going for yonks before
I'd never heard of them. So, this is a brand new experience for me.
I mean,
in its entirety.
Dude, same. Like, I was surprised that I'd never heard of them before. But I was bringing this up to some people. Whenever I'm in a social situation and I have nothing else to talk about, I talk about the show, because I'm very proud of the show. And I said that we've had suggestions ranging from, like, Florence and the Machine to Dr. Dre. And then I said, to even Porcupine Tree, thinking that nobody would know who this band are. Genuinely, the response was, "Ooh, that'll be a good episode." So, let's hope. Let us hope.
Let's hope. So, chart performance, this released in 2007, and as I say, became their best-selling record prior to the incident.
That's the name of the album.
That's the name of the next album. There was no incident with this band. They have not been cancelled. Please keep listening. It actually charted in almost every European country, and most notably entered the US Billboard 200 at number 59.
Which is a band we've never heard of.
It's quite a major feat for a British prog band.
Yeah, I feel like prog music in general outside of Rush doesn't really get much of a look in, which Sam also suggested Rush. But this one was more interesting, so we went with this one.
And it also reached number 21 in the UK official albums chart, staying on the chart for several weeks. They got named Album of the Year by Classic Rock Magazine 2007 and ranked as the best album credited to Porcupine Tree on besteveralbums.com. Wow.
Quite the accolade.
But actually placed at 436 in besteveralbums.com's all-time chart.
Who's running this forum? That's the questions I need to ask. Like, it seems very hyper-specific. It's like me going, and the greatest movie of all time is definitely Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It's like, it's true for me, but you know...
This, I think it was credited as the best rock album you've probably never heard.
I mean, that's more than fair.
Quite a title to have. Rolling Stone ranked Fear of a Blank Planet as 39th best progressive rock album of all time.
Okay.
So it has got fans. Be hard pressed to say it hasn't got any fans, but it was completely new to us, so it has been quite fun to listen to. And it is quite funny that you say Rush, because the guitarist from Rush actually did a guitar solo.
Hang on. Do I know their names? Because I'm not a Rush guy. It's not Geddy Lee, is it?
Alex Lifeson.
It wasn't Geddy Lee. He must be the vocalist. I know nothing about Rush. I'm really sorry.
But yeah, so on track 3 in Anesthetize, there's actually a blistering in air hyphens solo by Rush's Alex Lifeson. So it was really random that you said Rush.
Old Sam likes his prog. What can I say? He suggested 2 of them, and we picked this one because we thought, hey, this will make it interesting.
Well, we didn't. The wheel picked it.
Well, we chose to put it on the wheel.
Oh, yes.
So I don't think Moving Pictures, which is the other album he suggested, is on the wheel. Sam, if it isn't on the wheel, it'll be on the wheel from now. So don't you worry. You could be reappearing on this show. And thank you again for the work that you put into the music. So we've made it pretty clear. We are not familiar with the works of Porcupine Tree. We are not familiar with this album prior to this recording. This is an interesting case of something that I feel like I've seen the visual iconography of before. That album cover is a very striking photograph that I feel like I've seen outside of the context of this record. And that kind of started this kind of uncanny valley effect, which I think really lent into what this album is trying to say. I admit that that's a very singular and individual take to start this album with. That is entirely like, oh fuck, I've seen this before. So, no, all I could think of there was the stupid "I've played this game before" from Squid Game. Sorry,
I've played this game before.
That's better than the actual dub, isn't it? That one.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. Netflix, I am available to hire.
If you want someone to do a bad Brian Blessed impression, which is what we were doing before we started recording.
I'm your man.
Now, my Hawkmen. Dive! We're feeling a bit silly this evening.
Brunhilde! Where are you?
Should we talk about your thoughts
let's talk
of it?
about the key concepts of this album.
Yeah. So
there are 3 main concepts of this album.
Mm-hmm.
It delves into screen addiction, prescription drugs, and isolation.
Yeah.
Which are the main 3 themes of this song, which is quite comical that there's almost as many themes as there are tracks.
It's a standard album length in runtime, but it's 6 tracks. That's prog, baby.
Can't beat it. Who wouldn't want a nice 17-minute track?
I think that's baby numbers for even prog. I think that this is very radio-friendly prog in that it's only 17 minutes.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But yeah, so there's real subjects that have come to light more recently as well. Screen addiction, huge. Prescription drugs, with the rise of the pharmaceutical companies in America, has been absolutely staggering. And isolation apathy, we've got more depression cases, more like self-confining people now than ever. So this really is a bit ahead of its time.
Massively. It's so prophetic for what kids are going through at the minute, where the whole point is that the ever-present online screen-based life has become the new religion for, I don't want to throw Gen Z and Gen Alpha under the bus, but you guys grew up with the worst of it. Like we saw the mass adoption of the internet, but they never lived in a time without it. And the way that has warped the perception of reality and how it has lost people and turned them into dark reflections of themselves, which is, very much encapsulated on that fantastic photograph that makes up the front cover of the album, is what they were trying to get at. And to release that in 2007. To release that in 2007 felt like a warning that wasn't heeded.
I mean, well, if you look at 2007, so you have albums like Because of the Times by Kings of Leon, Favourite Worst Nightmare by the Arctic Monkeys, Maths plus English by Dizzy Rascal. So this is very different perception to quite a lot of what was around at the time as well.
We've talked about it a couple of times, but the whole... the demarcation for me of the truly digital age was whatever people say I am. That's what I'm not, reaching number 1. not through physical sales. So we're on that cusp of the internet being kind of great. At that point, there's still an excitement about the online world. There's still a fascination with what these other worlds, kind of these interconnected worlds that we've just kind of had that mass adoption of, what they can do. And there isn't this consideration of how it's going to warp kids and fuck them up, because there is no thought about that even being a consideration at this time. So for this album to say what it says and be more relevant as every passing year has gone on, and I think again, I hate for the demarcation point for this to be a Netflix show, a post-adolescence world where we've seen what it does. I mean, we know that was a drama, but like, it's woken up a lot of people to.
Oh yeah, it showed a lot of parents the evils of the internet.
Oh, totally.
And if we compare this album to another one that we've covered on this show, of Infinity on High by Fall Out Boy, which very much celebrated the internet and using its videos and its virality of its songs to push, oh, look how incredible the internet is. This is like the polar opposite.
Hang on, is Infinity on High this year as well?
Yep.
Oh, that's a double feature,
it's a great
isn't it?
like contrast. So these are two very different ends of the spectrum. Infinity on High was everything that the internet was created for. It used shows like Happy Tree Friends. It used music videos with viral clips and chimpanzees and random stuff that was really funny for some reason that I look back and think, why the hell was that funny? And then you've got Fear of a Blank Planet, where it's, you should be absolutely fucking terrified of this.
Yeah.
This isn't what you should be spending your life on. You should be scared.
Yeah. The commodity that the internet has brought and everything surrounding it that has opened kids' minds to far more than, you know, any generation before them at such an early and tender age.
Well, with the lyric, Xbox is a god to me.
It's such a it's a bit of a meme when we walked in and we were going, oh, the Xbox is a god. But it's kind of like 2007's like peak Xbox Live.
Yep.
Like, that's, people were being radicalized and saying some naughty no words from a very young age over COD. We all were.
You say we. I've never owned an Xbox Live account.
Oh, well done. You're better than some of us.
Yeah, I am. This, yeah, as you say, 2007 was very much when that Xbox Live, like, ability to play with a decent internet connection, like 30 meg connection, like, oh, 30 meg, oh, look at the speeds I'm getting. I'll be able to play online for at least 4 minutes before I crash. Where nowadays that's still as ever present. Like, the fact that there's cross-platform there, so PlayStation, Microsoft, PC can all talk to one another. It's an even bigger network than anybody ever expected it to be, where we've got 2 gig fiber connections. Like, the internet is more accessible now than ever. Schools are dropping paper and to use iPads, and screens are becoming the dominant form of what people look at. People are going to job interviews with paper on the desk to do a task and be like, oh, sorry, I can't write with a pen. People don't know how to use a pen anymore. That is terrifying.
Yeah.
From a generation that grew up with very limited access to the internet, but very unguarded access to the internet when we could get on there.
Yeah.
To see what sort of content kids can get access to now is terrifying, and it's all at a fingertip.
This album came out roughly the same kind of time as the decline of the Shock site. Remember early internet stuff like Rotten.com?
Yeah, Nothing Toxic.
That fucking video where you're following a car through a valley and then there's a zombie.
Yeah.
That age of the internet was in decline, but it was damn well still accessible.
Oh, yes.
This was before the way in which the media that's presented to children, it wasn't designed to be insidious and to poison. It was just freedom of speech. It was just everything available all the time.
The internet is here.
Yeah.
Watch this if you want.
Yeah.
Ha, have a laugh. Find it hilarious. Get absolutely devastated down to your core. It was like the sort of era where people were making YouTube accounts to watch, like, Saddam Hussein get hung.
God,
That sort of age.
Yeah, I remember seeing that on YouTube. Actually, now you say it kind of paints the picture
Which
as to what the
just
album's trying to do.
shows with YouTube nowadays, you can't swear and still get ad revenue.
You can't say murder.
You
It's on a live.
Yeah, you can't say murder. You can't refer to a penis as a penis. You can't say the word cum. You can't say anything like that without having your money taken away. Yet they live stream Saddam Hussein being hung.
Yeah, that's the other side of the coin, right? The world's made on that now. That's what makes this album so forward-looking at the time. And whilst it is more about the emotional impact to those kind of brought up in that society, it's interesting to view it in the lens of the world has now changed. This isn't just a sick fascination anymore. This is now a business. This is now an empire. It would be remiss not to point out that the forward-thinking edge of the album, it's almost harrowing how much they got right when they were talking about an extremity of a situation and how that much of that has been normalized. So, we've kind of covered the basics. I'm conscious that the last episode ran massively over, and I don't want to not give the album its credence, but I do want to get into talking about our favourite tracks and kind of the bright spots of it. I started last time, so we'll start with you.
It's hard to pick a favourite track. However, at the same time, it's hard to pick a track that I didn't like off there.
Yeah.
It's such a hard album to decipher and to like really decide. So I love the opener. I think the opener, Fear of a Blank Planet itself, is just great. It's a really strong way to open an album. It's got a great change in tempo midway through. The guitar parts match really well with the drums. It's like everything just melds so well together. And it's just a really fun album to follow. It just sets a tone.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And it's realistically, you could listen to that nowadays and it would still hit home as hard as it probably did in 2007. It's just a track about somebody being overwhelmed by media and becoming emotionally numb.
Yeah, and it's incredibly effective.
Yeah.
As an opener that sets the tone for everything that they then choose to explore the facets of, I find it to be almost like a mission statement for what they're trying to lay out and what they're trying to convey. It is, I think, the only track on the record that can stand alone, that could be recommended as a add this to a playlist song. I'm not sure what that playlist would be, but it's definitely one that I think tells the full arc in something that could be part of, a mega, I don't know, early noughts depression mega mix. Is that what we're going to go for?
Are you going for the track that I think you are? Are you going for the epic 18-minute track of Anesthetize?
I genuinely think it's very, 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 very good. Out of curiosity, how many times have you listened to the album through start to finish in preparation for this particular episode?
Do you want to guess whether it's more or less than my usual?
I think it's more than your usual.
I've listened to this album 19 times.
What? We don't do that for any record.
It's so easy to listen to.
Yeah.
You can just leave it on and it's like, wait, it's done. Like, wait, what? Where's that gone?
I always think whenever I hear the start of Anesthetize that I'm like, I'm not going to get through all 17 minutes this time. I'm going to pause halfway through.
And then you've realised that you're at the end of track 6 and you're like, wait.
Yeah.
Where have the last half an hour gone?
You've reached, I mean, specifically just on Anesthetize, when you've reached the bit about being in the water at the end, I'm like, I've done it again. I've listened to all 17 minutes again. And I thought and that's going through like the mad conflicting time signature shit in the middle, where you've got like the guitar parts like almost like stuck on a loop, whilst it's doing all these really intricate little synthy guitar-y bits. And every time I'm like, I'm going to pause this at some point because I'm going to get bored of it. And I never do.
I put it on. I put the entire album on yesterday morning to go for a run, knowing full well that I had more than an hour and a bit to do in my run. And I finished the album and it started again and I didn't realise.
No way.
It just carried on. And I finished my run. I was out for about an hour and 20 minutes and I was back into Anesthetize. I was like, wait a minute. How am I back into Anesthetize? I'd listened to it in a loop. It'd just gone back round and I hadn't realised. That's how you know the strength of an album. It felt like it was so fluid that I could just carry on listening to the same tracks.
Which is crazy considering the length.
I've never done before. I never put repeat on. I didn't know I had put repeat on, but it had repeated and I was just sat there like, damn. I was just lost for words.
It's very, very strong. I just want to keep talking about it because you've got the 3 sections. There's Anesthetize, which is the one that first third is the one that features Alex Lifeson from Rush. Then you've got The Pills I'm Taking, which is the interlude with I'm totally bored. Da, 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 da. I can't remember all the words. and Surfer, which is the bit about water at the end. It's just, you've got all the different time signatures, as I said. The sound feels like it's drifting between different states, which, given the title, I can only assume is meant to emulate that kind of, how should we call this?
Like a mood shift.
Yeah, a mood shift. Somebody who's feeling the effects of
prescription medication.
Prescription medication.
Which is a main theme of the album.
Yeah, which may or may not be that kind of over or under stimulation and talking about the chemical imbalance that we're just pumping into kids. Don't clip those last 4 words. But yeah, I find myself not skipping it every time because I think it's a real testament not only to what the album is trying to say, but also to the vibe that it creates. You can space out to it, whether you enjoy it or whether you're in a downward spiral, and it kind of feels relevant, and now that is impressive.
Yeah, 100%. Could not agree more. Like, I looked at it and went, this is 18 minutes. Like, the only songs I recall listening to at that sort of length before are Weird Al Trapped in the Drive-Thru
and Albuquerque.
And not many more songs than that I've committed a full 18 minutes to listen to an entire track. Usually it's like a hidden track where you've got like 15 minutes of silence and then you've got a random line at the end, like much like a Marvel film with its end credits.
Or like, is it Black Parade that has like half an hair of silence?
Give blood. Gallons of the stuff.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. Don't you worry, guys.
It is on the list.
It's on the list.
It's
Thank
on
you.
the list. But yeah, so we've got your top track of Anesthetize and mine of Fear of a Blank Planet. So following that, do you feel like there are any tracks that you think are the weakest or you dislike?
Yes, there is one. Which, given it's a 6-track record, I'd say, and I don't like a 6th bit, and a great way to start, but it's only because I think track 4, Sentimental, is where we start to see the beats repeating, which is weird considering that it follows Anesthetize, where I don't feel like it does. And even My Ashes, which I think is, obviously it's a bit more down-tempo compared to the rest of the record. I just think Sentimental it's not really finding a new way to talk about what it wants to say in the greater context of the record. It feels like on an album with such a small track list, you shouldn't have a bolt on. You shouldn't have a track that feels like it's not adding to anything. And maybe I've not found the meaning in this one. I admittedly have not tried to look it up. I've tried to let the album speak for itself this time. I normally go and try and read up on those to try and get a sense of what they're doing, but the message with this felt so goddamn clear, I just wanted to let it speak for itself. So if there is an element of isolation and nothingness, I almost wonder if it's intentional.
Well, this song is about a melancholic look at youth and the fading of innocence.
Okay. I'm not sure I got the innocence thing, but certainly melancholy I got, because it didn't feel like there was a strong drive behind it. But if that's the point, then I've still, even though it's not my favourite on the record, I'm still going to applaud it. But yeah, it just didn't feel like it had that special sauce that the other ones have.
Well, the question for you then, do you think any track could have followed Anesthetize and been good in your eyes?
That's a great question.
I don't think the problem is necessarily with the track. I think it's that Anesthetize is such a pivotal part of the album. Anything would struggle to follow it.
Probably, yeah. I think the only way that you could, I mean, I wouldn't reorder the album because there's clearly an artistic vision there. But if you were to move something around, I think you could get more out of Sentimental by not having it follow Anesthetize. And the only way to have something that could rival what Anesthetize is doing is to have it immediately followed by Sleep Together. I know that we're supposed to be talking about the bad bits now, but the reason why I feel like that works is because Sleep Together is a song that is basically talking about a suicide pact, from what I can tell. Or that is at least talking about the release or letting go of something, whether that is life or anything else, that's also decided to frame itself as a freaky sex tune. And using the juxtaposition of, I'm going to say the word release, and you know what I mean, and taking the mirror image of, you know, the anticipation, tension, and release of sex, and likening that to ending your own life, or ending the life with somebody else, or choosing to opt out of the life that you're into, whether that is in terms of physical harm or otherwise, is genius and is the perfect capstone to the record. That's the only way you get something that can work directly after Anesthetize, and that then still feels like it wouldn't be saying enough for either of those two tracks that just work individually, not as singles, but individually as kind of chapters in the essay that Porcupine Tree have written for us here.
You've hit the nail on the head with Sleep Together. It is suggesting surrender, either to intimacy or oblivion. You can decide. It's up to you. It's about your state of mind.
To choose your own adventure.
It is a choose your own adventure. Pick option 1 to drop the bomb. Now, I feel like, regardless of the order, I think even if you put Sleep Together after Anesthetize, if you went back and listened to it in that order, I still think it would struggle. With Anesthetize being such a big song, anything that follows is going to just be instantly overshadowed. So for me, I appreciate exactly what you're saying about Sentimental. I do think it has a place on the album. I think it works well after Anesthetize, but I think any track on this album is going to really struggle.
Yeah, you are right.
And I cannot give you a track I didn't enjoy. I can give you a segment of a track that I didn't enjoy.
Let's hear it.
And that is just the last minute of Sleep Together. It is just a little bit too long for me.
I get it, yeah.
And that is the only criticism I have. Look, this album has left me speechless. I never thought I'd ever come into an album and be like, I just really loved it. And I've been proven wrong. This is, I've been left speechless by a prog rocker.
I get it. I just didn't think this would be your vibe.
It isn't. This is not my vibe.
Yeah.
But I remember I listened to the first track and I sent you a message saying, I think you're going to like this.
Because it is my vibe.
But because it is your vibe. It isn't as heavy as I would usually listen to. It isn't the sort of messaging that I would usually listen to. But I have been absolutely hypnotized by this album. And I think it is going into my general rotation.
Wow, okay. That's
I
very
will
strong.
be shocked if Porcupine Tree do not make it into my top artists of the year with how much I've listened to this album.
That's crazy.
It is an experience. It is an experiential album. And I'm just baffled by it.
I was kind of not expecting to like it as much as I did.
Same.
I think I saw it and go, oh, 17-minute album. It's a prog rock album. Like
a 50-minute album, 17-minute track.
So 17-minute track, you are right. And a 50-minute album was like, and it's all about the digital world being fucking cancerous, and I'm like, oh
Jesus Christ, does it hit hard today?
But this is what I'm saying. The context, it almost works better now than it ever did at the time. There's elements of ridicule and sneering and anger, but also this empathetic, like this thing sucks, and like this is how the kids are feeling. They're feeling angry, but also like they're still feeling tender. We should feel tender about them, and then it rolls into My Ashes, which I think might be about generational trauma, but I'm not entirely sure. But it's not an exciting track, so it works as something that's exploring trauma. Anesthetize is fucking great. And then Way Out of Here, the composition being as spaced out as it is, and you got this rise and fall, which I think is meant to be some degree of kind of an anxiety or a panic attack or something. It's not as harsh as that. But when you get the start of that chorus, that way out, and like the soundscape opens up, and you can't fill something with emptiness, but that's what the song does, and it feels desperate. And then when that's what I'm saying, you'd rob that of its transition into Sleep Together if you reordered the album, and that's really only trying to save a song that doesn't need to be saved. All of that to say. I don't have much in the way of struggle. I can quite confidently, as you've said, put it on and let it happen. It will only be more relevant as every year comes to pass. And there is very little I can say that can explain how forward-thinking and how switched on, ironically, you've got to be to make a record that is, whilst commanding its genre, also transcending it. And I don't know, man. I don't just want to go, it's art, but it just feels like art.
There's only one way I can describe this, and it's with the name of a MySpace group from back in day. And it's I'm 14 and this is deep.
But that almost feels like ridicule. Like I wouldn't say that.
It's not a form of ridicule at all. Like, it is so incredibly deep. Sorry, I've moved away from the microphone. I'm a bad egg.
You Tay-Zonday now. You move away from the mic to breathe in.
But this is an album which, especially for me, growing up in the generation I did, encapsulates the way that I felt over the years. I didn't feel this way as much back when it was released in 2007, but damn does it hit hard today. Damn does it explain emotion better than any video that we could have watched at school to explain what isolation feels like. It's better than any other self-help guide out there. It just shows you what it feels like to kind of be alone, and that it's okay to feel like that sometimes, and
that it's valid and explainable.
Yeah, you're not on your own. People feel that way, and this shows perfectly that you might be addicted to your screen, you might be addicted to prescription medication, you might be addicted to pornography, you could be addicted to anything like that, but you're not alone.
Yeah, it all feels, especially that last point, it all feels shockingly to the knuckle. Especially the way that we're now trying to police something that is already out of control.
This album is 18 years old.
Yeah.
This album can legally watch porn now.
Well, if it surrenders its credit card information. But this is the thing. I do feel like that's a political choice to make something that far ahead. To say that much about something that is now the cornerstone. Like, the internet was turned off tomorrow.
I'd lose a job.
Yeah. This is it.
My job would be gone if we lost the internet tomorrow. My job is literally reliant on the internet.
Precisely. Like, we can't go back, and that's what makes it sting all the more. The damage is going to be there regardless. I think we know where this is going. Let's not harp on it much longer.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I can't even lie about it. This is going definitely into the unskippable category for me, and it feels like we've had some incredible albums come up lately that have hit us weirdly that we were not expecting. I was not expecting to be putting so many albums lately into this category. However, we are slowly catching up with the amount that we have skipped.
Yeah, it's coming close to a 50-50 game now, isn't it?
Insane.
Yeah.
So,
but if we're going to get record... By the way, it's unskippable. That's what I think.
I thought as much.
Yeah. I don't wax lyrical about that. I've said I've been the guy that goes and reads into all the fucking lyrics. And this has just been like...
This time it was me.
Yeah, it's you. And moreover, like, it's not made it difficult for me. It's laid it out very nicely in a way that it's like a presentation box. It's like a lovely big gift wrap thing. And when you open it, it's like... what's inside is ugly, but you love it. If you know what I mean. The message of the album is so dour and kind of feels like the inner monologue to every emo album ever written. Just the music never matched the mood. And this is definitely that inner monologue. It is ugly. It is a dark reflection of our reality. But this well presented, it's one of those ones that I'm glad you love it so much. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've genuinely loved listening to this album. So huge thank you to Sam for putting this forward. It has genuinely might be one of those albums that changes my life.
You know what? There's no better way to finish the episode. So if you have an album that you think could change our lives, you can send them along to skippedpod@gmail.com. That's SKIPD. You drop that E. pod@gmail.com, or you can go to the link tree. The link will be in the episode description, and there's a form there. If you don't like sending emails, you can just pop it all in and let us know which album you think is truly unskippable, much like Sam's recommendation of Fear of a Blank Planet. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. This one's been good. I like this. We're on a good roll.
We're on a good streak.
Long may it continue.
Send us some good stuff.
We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.